Right, what's happening, people? Welcome on back to Football Yannick, the YouTube channel where I don't have to speak about the club I support, Chelsea. I can speak about all the other big stories in football. And at the moment, one of the biggest, fat, juiciest piece of narratives, of course, is Liverpool Football Club, Premier League champions. They've just had their 4th Premier League loss in a row. Of course, prior to the Champions League win they had, was it 5-1? They were on 4 games generally, losing in a row. So what's that, 5 losses in 6 games? Anyway, it's been a disaster for any football club to lose 4 Premier League games in a row. Even if you're 20th place promoted side, you're thinking, damn, this ain't good. But for champions Liverpool, who spent £450 million in the summer transfer window, bringing in superstar, world-class players, yeah? Brand new pair of beautiful high-profile fullbacks / wingbacks in Kirkies and Frimpong, buying a £69 million striker in Ugo Ekitike, who lots of other teams wanted. But heck, let's break the transfer window, not once, but transfer window? They did do that, the transfer record, not once, but twice, and of course bringing in Florian Wirtz and Alexander Isak, which in itself was a huge narrative that caused everyone to look at it. Basically. So we're going to discuss it in this video. I'm also going to speak about Man United, who seem to be clicking, which is horrendous scenes for someone like me who's a Chelsea fan, who they've overtaken us. But unfortunately, this is a little bit of respite for me. I've spoken about our loss to Sunderland at home. I'm going to speak about Liverpool. Yeah, crisis, bro. I know they won 5-1 in the Champions League against Frankfurt, and that is a good win, no matter how you shape it. But they've got Brentford, mate. Brentford. Can I just say, yeah, Igor Thiago up top. I wonder how many teams. Certainly, again, look, as much as I don't want to talk about Chelsea, I have to look at my opinions and talking points through the lens of a Chelsea fan. So I look at Igor Thiago and Jean-Philippe Mateta, so, Palace and Brentford, 2 relatively small football clubs, no disrespect. I know Palace are the current FA Cup holders, they win major trophies now. But I look at them strikers and go, cool, I could really do with those at my club. Just a big boy striker that knows what they're doing. But, yeah, man, we are going to talk about Liverpool because that's the big story here. But quickly on Brentford. They lost, who did they lose? They lost Flecken in goal. They lost their captain Norgard in midfield. They lost their top goal scorer in Mbeumo. They lost their leading proper striker in Johan Visser. And most notably, they lost Thomas Frank, the manager that's made them good. They were decimated, pulled apart. And, I was thinking, a lot of people were thinking, they're screwed, bro. They might go down. Purely because they've just lost, they've had their heart ripped out their ass. But turns out, and rather shockingly, Jordan Henderson coming in to, I suppose, replace Norgard in midfield. It's been a good move. Ouattara, of course, we knew was a good player. They spent a lot of money on him, Brentford. But I think a lot of people forgot. Well, when talking about Brentford, I was like, Ouattara is a good signing. He's a good attacker. And Kevin Schade. When everyone spoke about, Mbeumo and Johan Visser leaving, no one was really referencing Kevin Schade, who had a really good end of last season. He's a young player, devastating attacker. Turns out he's still really good and doing well and developing. And Igor Thiago up top, looking like a proper striker, centre forward. So excellent signing. So they deserve a great deal of respect. And I think with Kelleher, they've had an upgrade in goal, even though they lost their first choice Flecken. Turns out they've upgraded. They've got Kelleher. We knew he was a great goalkeeper. Again, I, as a Chelsea fan, know he's a great goalkeeper because we kept losing cup finals to him in Wembley when he played for Liverpool. And Damsgaard, of course, coming into his own. So they do deserve a mention here, Brentford, amidst this Liverpool crisis, because they're a good team. They are a good team, Brentford. But Liverpool, bro, just dripping with narrative, not just because of all the signings. And this, Trent obviously going on a free to Real Madrid is a big one as well. But I'm gonna look. They started in this game a front four of Ugo Ekitike, who, to be fair, was their form only probably the best performing new signing. Yeah, I think that's totally fair. He come in and score a few goals. I'm looking on SofaScore. He by far got the lowest rating in this game. Cody Gakpo starting on the left. He has been relatively consistent, I think, Cody Gakpo. I think a lot of Liverpool fans want to see Isak up top, Ekitike maybe on the left, and then I suppose Wirtz and Salah. But Wirtz, still hasn't got a goal and an assist, has he? Certainly in the Premier League. And by the way, I spoke about Wirtz on this channel. He's such a talented footballer, legit, real talk. He's an amazing technician, and he's gone into an inappropriate scenario to demonstrate what is immense ability, and that's a wanky way of saying it, but it's true. And I don't mean the Premier League. I mean this iteration of Arne Slot's Liverpool. Mo Salah is a real interesting case because despite scoring one of the best goals you'll see this season against Brentford, that whip finish just lashed, and he didn't celebrate it because he's like, yeah, I'm very capable of scoring world-class goals all the time. And he's just an amazing finisher. He got a yellow card. He's been in really poor form generally. He doesn't track back. He didn't defend. He's been making poor decision making. He's not been playing in his teammates in the final third, not been squaring balls or cutbacks or through balls because he's been lacking a goal. So he's been doing selfish actions in these last few games. Ultimately playing poorly, and it's come to the point where people are discussing, oh, okay, so, he's washed. Van Dijk and, Mohamed Salah is a wash, they're done. They shouldn't have given them these new extensions on £400,000 a week. It was an incorrect decision. Obviously, that's hindsight's 2020. You don't expect Salah to... the thing is, Salah did fall off a cliff last time he did his contract extension, but then came back and was amazing again, and just last season he was amazing. So we'll see what happens there. Van Dijk is an interesting one, who's a bit older, isn't he, a year or two older than Salah? He's looking very poor, Van Dijk. So is Konate, but I've been not impressed at all with Virgil van Dijk. Look, there's comparisons all the time. I think John Terry, I get stick from a lot of people from saying I don't think he's... he can sit at the table with Rio Ferdinand or John Terry. When John Terry was 35, he was winning the Premier League as a starting centre-back. And he's he's got 5 Premier League medals, is he, John Terry? I know the Conte season, he was more of a dressing room, presence, captain. But I think Virgil van Dijk is an amazing central defender. And I think for 18 months when they won the first Premier League, and obviously sort of annexed onto that season when they won the Champions League, I think he was the best centre-back. He could sit at the table of anyone. But in terms of longevity, of being that good consistently, I just don't think he's that. I don't think he's that guy. Football's a game of opinions. Kirk has, of course, scored his first Liverpool goal, but broadly he's been very poor. And then Conor Bradley, of course, starting at right back, who I thought was just going to be the natural, obvious successor to Trent Alexander-Arnold because he's good. Again, as a Chelsea fan, I've seen Conor Bradley roast Chelsea in cup finals, much like I've seen Kelleher keep us out. And then Giorgio Mamardashvili in goal, of course, in the absence of Alisson. They miss Alisson as well. Szoboszlai having a great game in midfield. He's been a great player for Arne Slot. Szoboszlai, as has Gravenberch generally. I think he was absent for this game. But obviously the drop-off form of the likes of Salah and Van Dijk, who were both amazing last season, it leaves you feeling Arne Slot, how good is Arne Slot, yeah? All last season, and indeed the beginning of this season, on this channel, and Football Therapy and other stuff I did, I kept saying, I don't know how good Arne Slot is, apart from, the revelation of the repurposing of Gravenberch. How good are they? Salah's in great form, Van Dijk's in great form, Alisson is the best goalkeeper in the Premier League for me, and has been for a while. Man City fell off, Arsenal didn't quite cut it, they won the Premier League. But how good is Arne Slot? I don't want to say he's a bad manager because he won the Premier League easily, but there was a little bit... The line I say in every video when I talk about Liverpool is they were the most obvious example of an oven-ready team to just pick up with a new voice and make them good again. And he did that perfectly. He represented that new voice. There were all lots of senior good players, experienced players. Oh yeah, cool, a refreshing voice, in the dressing room will go on and win and take advantage of other teams dropping off. I just don't know how good Arne Slot is. I do think it's been very difficult with such a high turnover of players. We see that all the time with Man United, also like when Milan did it years and years ago, Forest doing it. Sometimes, of course, my club Chelsea, it can make it really tough when you swap so many players out. But I mean, you are getting good players. Like Kirkier's had a great season in the Premier League. You've got Conor Bradley, who's a great right back in the Premier League, so you can ease in Frimpong. Ekitike started really well. It's not like you're bringing in Isak. This guy's like, oh, what's the Premier League? He ate the Premier League alive for a couple of seasons, It's just fascinating. What's going to happen if they keep losing? Do they sack Arne Slot? That's the question. I mean, I know that sounds radical and sensational and hyperbolic and stuff, but what? They've invested £500 million on new players in the summer. What did they do? What if they don't finish in the Champions League? It's mental, isn't it? It is mental. Imagine what Isak will be thinking if Newcastle finish above them and who won a trophy and he'd taken I don't know. It's crazy. Do they sack? I saw some news on social media, some accounts saying, oh, Jurgen Klopp would come back, maybe, or whatever. They believe he would if they asked him or whatever. Jurgen Klopp tapped hands and says, look, I'm tired, see you later. But maybe Jurgen Klopp also looks at that squad because, Klopp will love Wirtz as a German international. He'll know his talents. He'll look at Ekitike, he'll know well from watching Bundesliga and seeing him in the Premier. He'll know all about Alexander Isak. He knows how to get the best out of Salah as well. He'll probably be looking at that squad going, actually, maybe I'll come back for an 18-month contract. I don't know, but do they sack Arne Slot if he keeps losing? I mean, you have to, right? No matter how FSG are the ownership at Liverpool are well, there's been a high turnover, it's going to be tough, let's give him some, room. Sure, but 5 losses in 6 and 4... I mean, I think that's the stat. Correct me if I'm wrong. 4 Premier League losses in a row. Eventually, you have to be this ain't good, Brev. They're not going to get relegated. But because he won the Premier League last season, does he have a free pass on a transition season? And if he does, what is a free pass? Anything but relegation, obviously, or any sniff of a relegation battle? Or if it's if you're going to drop out of the top 8, 7, whatever conference league is, sort of thing. No trophies. If you don't finish in the top 6 and you get no trophies, you're gone. I mean, surely after the investment, you feel after a while, because it's not a lot of those players are proven, Isak and Kirkiers and stuff like that. I don't know, man. I think it's pretty effing wild, and it's a massive story, dude. I reckon genuinely. Because they look very poor, yeah. They look very... I'm just going to quickly look at the stats of that game against Brentford. Brentford generated a higher XG, 7 big chances to Liverpool's 3. Says it all. They played it out the ball. They only had 34% possession, Brentford. Of course, that's how they'd play. But, they won't give a so-and-so about that. So, yeah, man. And let's quickly talk about Man United, which is fear and pain. Mbeumo's scoring a brace. So actually, it was 3-2 in the 92nd minute. Of course, Welbeck and Costolas scoring goals after Cunha and Casemiro and Mbeumo's first. Mbeumo in scintillating form. I must say, I didn't watch this game. I saw the Cunha goal and I had to go out, yeah. But the Cunha goal, not just the finish, the move, yeah. The move from Man United was incredible. I was like, oh, and I just watched, my team play really poorly. So I was watching a really nice goal. And after watching my team, Joao Pedro struggling to make it work with a teenage striker in front of him against a low block, to watch the likes of 30-year-old Bruno Fernandes and, I know Cunha and Mbeumo are between 25 and 30, just grown-ups, just quality proven grown-ups. It was a really well-worked goal. And finish, and I was just thinking, must be nice. Yeah, I mean, Brighton are a good team. Brighton have given bloody noses to all kinds of level of opposition, and I think I said it's either 2 or 3 years, it's possibly 3 years in a row Brighton have won at Old Trafford, and then they just got slapped by Amorim here, and they're on 3 wins in a row. Everyone's seen that geezer, the United Strand, he's not going to cut his hair until 5 wins in a row. They're going to need 2 more, and they've got like Tottenham and someone else, I forget, but Tottenham and Forest. Like, the form of those respective teams, like, Bread is getting a haircut, do you know what I mean? And I think Man United look good. I think the goalkeeper was a great signing. It's a clever signing, which Man United are not synonymous of doing. You know, a young goalkeeper who had 1 season at Antwerp in the Belgium league. Do you know what I mean? That's got, like, Chelsea blue co all over it, do you know what I mean? Rather than like a Man United, well, we'll sign, Mbomo for 72 million, we'll sign Cunha for 65 million because we know they can play well in the Prem. Guess what? They're playing well in the Prem. Even Seshko, I think Seshko for the first goal, obviously Mount was dropped for this game. If Seshko did like a wonderful piece of like interplay. He's not obviously popping off goals yet, Benjamin Seshko, but like he looked like a big, strong centre forward that knew how to use his body and do link up. And yeah, Man United looked like a serious football club again, which is, not great. Not great. I mean, they have been in the banter era for forever. And, with Man United, they'll have these moments, but then they could, lose to a Grimsby Town. We'll see. Maybe, they finally clicked under Ruben Amorim, and maybe this is it. I guess, I hate to say it, but I guess it's good that they're back and good. It turns my stomach as an opposition fan, Obviously, look, it's Schadenfreude? What's the word? I forget. My brain's melting. But I enjoy, Liverpool's downfall. Of course I do. As Liverpool fans would enjoy the same of Chelsea, watching Chelsea lose, 2-1 to Sunderland. But I guess it's a good thing Man United are a strong force again that can beat Brighton at home finally. I guess it's a good thing Arsenal could win the Premier League. Again, every cell in my body hates it, but objectively as a competition, when you say the Premier League's the best in the world, this is what happens. My inner fan that's not objective just looks desperately at that league table and goes, right, Man City have got to win the league because it's not going to be Chelsea, I don't want it to be Arsenal. Just let it be something like Man City, who I don't give a sod about. But, again, what's best for the league is probably some diversity in title winners. Anyway, huge stories, man. So let me know your thoughts. Leave them down in the comments. I do want to get to 20,000 subs, so if you do watch this content, please do consider subscribing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for hyping the video up. And I do hope to see you back here soon. Peace.